Hey everybody, it's Last Robokai here. It's time for more Nioh. I'm joined by Cool Guy, and we're going to start out by talking about soul matching because I told
Hey,
you. I told you.
Tomei!
Tomei's still banging away. She's very happy to see you again when you come back. So what's the deal with soul matching? Well, I'm going to show you all. As we've seen demonstrated, divine weapons are a little bit different to regular weapons. As you can see, some have been denoted with pluses on them. Level 150 is the highest form any weapon can take, but a divine weapon can get plus versions of them. So what I'm doing right now is I am, smushing plus version weapons together in order to, because the regular ones don't. But if they've got a plus on them, you can swoosh them together via soul matching to increase their level. And so it's generally a good idea to pair same ones together. So what you want to do to try and get the gear you've got better is try and smoosh up the levels of any divine gear you get to a point where then you can then smoosh them into your gear to boost the level. And as you're going to see with my Odachi here, now that I've successfully done this, it actually kind of looks like I don't get that much of a good change out of it. My weapon attack is down, some of those stats are down, but that's because once you hit full familiarity, they will get a bigger boost. So in the long run, that's what you want to get.
This reminds me very much of Disgaea with the whole reincarnation thing. Like, you've got to reincarnate as a genius like 18 times to get actually powerful stats for the entire game.
See, as you can see, like I'm boosting it up, the familiarity, you see,
yeah.
Yeah.
It goes away. So, the attack doesn't look like it's changed, but that's because the familiarity is minimized again.
Yeah, and what I'm sort of hopefully going to get as I find pieces of armor throughout the game is you can sort of see there's like a bar with an arrow pointing to another bar. It's kind of hard to see. In the boots, it was life. Kadama sense on the Fanatic's armor thing there and things like that. Yokai equipment drop rate on the red cap ahead there. If you've got full familiarity on a weapon and you soul match it into another weapon, that then gets transferred over. So what I'm trying to do as I play the game is also try and find a few things with good stats to inherit. And in those particular cases, I'll use items to boost their familiarity up, and then meld them into my weapon in order to get them.
God, this really is like fucking Disgaea. Holy mother! I didn't realize.
And on top of this, I haven't shown it off. And see, everything else I just pull apart because divine fragments are incredibly useful for re-rolling particular stats of weapons via the reforge mechanic, which we're going to go into in a moment. I'm just sort of looking. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to waste it on this because I don't actually intend on using this weapon. There's a weapon I want to get from Shigaza. Yeah, he does that. So we're going to go in and we're going to just show the Fanatic's armor, and as you can see, you can use spirit chunks to re-roll them, but that's not what I want to do because they will give you they all have like their own sort of pool that you can use for stuff. And so I'm going to use Divine Fragments, which you can see I've got quite a lot from destroying things. And this is where money cost becomes huge in this game. And money suddenly becomes almost more important than Embritter. Because you're essentially re-rolling and re-rolling and re-rolling until you try and get something you like. I will eventually stop, just because I don't want the video to go for 100 years, but this is a nice one. When your living weapon runs out, you get 201 plus 201 health. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. That's not what I actually wanted. I do have a build in mind, but even if I don't reach it by the end, that's fine. Spending all that money has the added bonus. You get patronage levels that you can use to spend with Muramasa. And as you can see, I've got soul matching cost discount maxed, and I'm working on reforging cost down as well. There's more to it than that. Weapons of an identical name.
There's more to it than that. This dude just dropped an entire dump truck on us, and he's just like, hey, there's more where that came from. Wiggles eyebrows.
Well, we're going back to Tono to find a kidnapped Kodama, but with soul matching, the cost goes down if you're soul matching weapons or armor of a similar type. So chest armor will be cheaper to soul match together than you soul matching a pair of gloves into chest armor. Likewise, if it's got exactly the same name, say you've got the Fanatic's armor helmet, you've got two of those, soul matching them together is much cheaper again. So that's something to consider. You can also get anima stones which are sort of much rarer things, and they have a weirder pool of things to draw on.
Is that a Kappa shell on your head?
Yeah, we got that red Kappa helmet in the last level.
I love everything about that. Like, I realized you were saying something, you loaded in, and I saw that thing on your head, and I just, like,
I'm very proud of it.
completely lost everything.
Alright, let's just boost up the Nekomata a little more. And we'll run through this stage using it. Get ourselves a little cat power.
Yeah, dude. He's been in hell for a while. He's gotta be let out to play.
The Nekomata are quite popular yokai, so it was always going to be pretty easy for him to come back.
Yeah. Okay.
This level is kind of interesting in that, yeah.
Okay.
Aside from this guy's natural ability to just duck and weave like nobody I've ever seen
seriously,
before.
that dude is clearly not still alive because of his competence.
Some people are just lucky in life. But the this
Go ahead.
I know you were about to start screaming at me. But please.
No. It said that I was going to say it said that God looks after fools, and that was the drunks and fools. And I'm going to guess that guy was both.
I'm like, cat, please, what the fuck?
Cat doing cat things. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just standing next to a clean litter box, meowing like inconsolably.
Yeah. Nekomata are quite popular, so it makes sense he would be resurrected pretty quickly after peace was brought to the nation. You know, people's faith would be restored. People would be praying to the protective nature of these cats. Yeah,
please,
so
cats, come around and murder all of the rats because we do not want them to eat our grain. And the cat is like, you want me to hang around and do nothing but eat? Okay.
Well, you know, the Nekomata cat is similar to the concept of the fox.
Yeah,
in mysticism. It's just that, like, when a cat reaches a certain age, their tail just splits in two instead of them just growing like magical
more
power tails over time. It's kind of weird, but hey, you know, you deal with it.
I mean, I'm sure the cat is fine with it.
Yeah. He's in Nioh too, by the way.
Nekomata is?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
They showed some previews of it, and at one point he does follow the player around, helping him out, telling him stuff.
Hey man, like I was heartbroken when he died. So hearing he's back, I'm fine with this. What the hell does he think? What does this ninja think he's doing?
I was gonna say this. Now that I remember what I was gonna say, this particular level is interesting because in a lot of Nioh levels, the first version you get is like, at least in the early stages, you get a lot of levels where it's just like full of average dudes, and you do like a variation of the level, or you do a Twilight version of the level. There you go. The shots go faster. It's less.
I was about to say trunks and fools again until you pulled out the gun, and I was just like, all right, he's had enough of this shit.
I know what I'm doing. The super interesting thing in this particular stage is that the major level has most of the yokai, whereas this one is more of a stage just full of dudes. There's one or two yokai, but they're sort of hiding away. They don't want to get spotted.
Actually came through and murdered all of the yokai. The dudes were just like, hey, we can come out of our houses now. And then it turns out that they couldn't come out of their houses at all because it was you, William.
Dear. There's, you know, we killed our way through in one direction, and now we're killing our way back in the other direction.
Yeah, just
although not the whole level.
We're leaving a different color of blood this time instead of flaming yellow. It's red. There's no problem with that. It's fundamentally the same thing.
In the end, what's the difference? There we go. How's that?
I've something that I've consistently commented on to myself, but I think I've always failed to bring up, was that I really appreciate how even when you land a solid hit on a human enemy, there is, like, their hit recovery shows them attempting to block, and it basically looks like they've thrown their best effort into like deflecting the attack off of their core, which is one of those little things that I really appreciate in the game. Simply because in most games, you end up wondering, hey, I totally just you know, cut that guy from ass to Atlas. You know, like that is exactly what happened with that animation, and they just sort of like threw their muscled chest out and flexed like Arnie from when he was doing fucking Conan the Barbarian and took it. Like, what the hell was that all about? And it fundamentally doesn't make sense on some level. But Nioh, no, they're not satisfied with that. You hit somebody in the head, like, they had better have a damn excuse for not having their head fly off. If you hit somebody in the face, they had better start doing something if they're not going to go over the top of your head like that.
Yeah, and they're definitely twisting their body. It is
trying.
definitely. Yeah, it's a little touch I quite appreciate. Like, this game has lots of really nice little touches. Like, we talked about it in the last episode about the guy up in the tower with the gun. Mm-hmm. We find him picking through some stuff, and it's full of the ammunition that he would be using in the guard post. It was just like, that's cool. I like that. And of course he didn't expect an attack from behind because he's the guard looking out. But it also explains how you snuck up on them.
Came from behind.
Because those guns were fiddly.
Yeah, matchlocks were not exactly the paragon of reliability, particularly at this stage.
And all of these cutthroat rogues hanging around,
whatever,
getting cut
into
pieces.
You sure cut his throat. Ew.
He's just like, oh my god, a really tall Kappa. Wait a minute, there's a British man. He's swallowing a British man.
Why is this happening? How is this possible?
There we go. There's our hidden Oni. So yes, the explanation you get from the character lore for a lot of the Oni that were introduced in this particular, or the yokai that were introduced in this particular DLC, they all felt a sense of like camaraderie with Date Shigazane. And like, because of the physical state that he has ended up in, as the game has said, during one of the biggest fights of Date Masamune's lifetimes that they took part in, they basically said that Shigazane took an Amethyst Stone to empower himself, and over time, it eventually corrupted him. It didn't happen instantly. It happened eventually. He actually spent a little bit of time doing some other things, and even like spent some time with the Toyotomi, just to sort of get a lay of the land and learn a few things. He was basically as strong and as imposing as he seems there. He was considered one of the three great men of the Date clan from Date Masamune's leadership. This is really funny. A dude actually blows on the horn to alert everybody.
And nobody gives a crap.
Well, it confuses the shit out of one or two of them, and generally speaking, the rest of them just don't.
I get the feeling that somebody has blown that horn frequently in the past, and this is a boy cried wolf situation.
Must be, but at least one guy is going to be like, he is going to be very seriously investigating what he thinks is the source of the problem.
Oh hey!
I didn't even see that guy.
That's the only dude who took the alarm seriously.
Didn't really have any way to get to me either, so most of them, that particular alarm wasn't particularly helpful. And it's it was the battle that they talk about was the battle of Hitatori Bashi, and that's where Date Masamune was getting revenge against the clan responsible for the death of his father, essentially, and he he eventually launched a big attack, but a lot of the clans in the region assembled together, and so it was his 7,000 versus their 30,000, and although they drove him back into his castle, the alliance pretty much dissolved pretty fast after that.
The trick with the rock made me giggle voraciously. I love it.
I
loved everything
look at this
about
guy.
that.
This guy, he's blowing the horn. No one's getting through this door.
They're coming through here. I'm gonna be ready for them. I'm gonna be ready.
not the brightest of boys.
They hired that man for his size, not his brains. Close coffin ceremony for that boy.
Yeah. Apparently, quite a few of the forces in this alliance had other clans take advantage of them being elsewhere, and that's kind of what saved the Date at that particular point in time. That said, like after that, Date Masamune took some lessons from it, and would just start to win. Date Masamune was quite fortunate. He had three particularly great people. There was Shigazane, excellent warrior. You had Katakura Kagatsuna, or Kojiro, as people often called him, who was famous for generally being the right guy to not only temper a lot of Date Masamune's impulsive ideas, but also to encourage the right ones. And so a lot of the success can be attributed to him knowing exactly when to fulfill his role as an advisor.
Just when to speak up and when not to, eh?
Yeah, no, he was an extremely clever man. And actually, the fellow that was in the cutscene that we saw there before, who was saying, those are unfounded rumors and everything like that. That's his son, Shiganaga, who has some growing yet to do.
He's still a little bit young yet. Hihachi the technician.
It's like the shoveler, the technician. It's like, what are these guys? Has someone killed the guys responsible for building this place? What's going on here?
That feels a little bit out of the ordinary.
I will never get tired of how when I dodge backwards I tear apart boxes and other things.
It's your preferred way of opening doors, which is something that's always amused the shit out of me.
Well, you don't leap into battle. You just create a vacuum and suck it all back in.
It all comes back to the source. The source is my stomach. I'm hungry.
So, as Nekomata said, someone seems to be able to see these things. It's quite a curious case. You wonder, okay, so what's this particular guy's thing? Why is it he can see something like that and most other people can't? So this motherfucker right here. Well, it turns out a couple of them might actually just have a little bit of something wrong with them.
Yep. At least two of them. There was three in there, so I'm gonna guess the third is in on this particular party.
Yep, there. Every last one of them is a Rokurokubi. Likely unaware that they were in fact able to see him because they were Rokurokubi. Also jerks. Go away.
Yeah, seriously, this freaking guy.
There we go.
He doesn't know when to quit.
Also, the nicest thing about this particular DLC is you'll notice the Kodamas around here wear the grass cloaks to keep themselves warm.
Too damn cold outside to go out with those things.
Huh. Hey, little fella. Off you go. Well, he's not little. He's actually probably the biggest, fattest Kodama.
Yeah, holy crap! That dude is like chonky.
he's the Chonkodama.
Yeah, he's the Chonkodama. He comes back to the shrine, and all the other Kodama are like, "Oh Lord, he coming!"
Dear.
Somebody warm up the kitchen. Chonkodama has returned.
Well, he's been rescued, so off he goes.
Yeah. Alternately, he is the Kodama, what makes all other rules.
And we got ourselves an actually very interesting helmet there. You might notice it's it's got something written on top of it.
Honestly, I was distracted by the thing in the third slot there, and I thought you were talking about wearing a bucket on your head.
That would be great. Sadly, I don't think there is anything that's looks directly like a bucket, but it's fine. Alright. Hey, it's Fuku!
Hey, Fuku!
Yeah, Fuku's still around, and she needs our help in another gauntlet full of demons, which will give me a chance to talk about who owned that helmet. And I've also put the helmet on.
We had a really good look at it.
Yeah, because one of the sort of important moments of the Date clan's history was that during the Battle of Sekigahara, they took on the Uesegi clan to like the Uesegi clan and the Tokugawa forces had fought, and the Date clan sort of managed to keep them contained and beat them. And that won the Date clan a lot more renown and trust than they would have otherwise been given. So the Uesegi clan were fairly famous in the region, and essentially stayed quite a powerful force in politics in Japan for a while. In no small part because of their location. This is the Bishamonten Centipede, by the way. He's an interesting.
Holy crap!
He's an interesting guardian spirit in that he sticks around for a little while.
Yeah, he's gross, but he's tenacious.
Now the Uesegi were primarily positioned so well because at one point they were led by a man named Uesegi Kenshin.
Yep.
And Uesegi Kenshin, his nickname was Bishamonten. Bishamonten is the Japanese god of war, by the way. So his nickname was literally the god of war.
So basically some dude is nicknamed Mars or whatever in frickin' Roman pantheon.
Yeah, he was a big fucking deal, and he had passed on before Oda Nobunaga had died. But the Uesegi were still quite a strong clan, still quite an effective clan. One of the reasons of that was because of a fella named Nioh Kanatsugu, and I do apologize, I've probably butchered the pronunciation of that. This is his helmet that we're wearing, and the helmet's kind of weird because it's basically love. It's a way of saying love is written on his helmet. But in a particular particular way.
Yeah.
Well, not just particular, but in a particular meaning, like combinations of certain words and stuff to form love.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that kanji at all, so I can't speak to it myself. But that's oh.
There you go. See, there you go. That's what happens when they grab you.
Oh, that's pretty brutal right there.
I'm being quite soundly walled from all directions here. Just,
yeah, that's a revenant behind you, isn't it?
Yeah, because one of these fucking will be what Boku Boku's that causes me trouble.
And your guardian spirit's down. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he's not quite higher level enough to be truly powerful anyway. But we're getting there. You just gotta get your spacing. It's really difficult when you've got an enemy that is tenacious like the Revenant. And of course, now the game has actually spawned another Revenant to fight us.
Yep.
I'm not actually sure who this particular character is supposed to represent.
Oh, this is getting complicated really quick.
It's fine.
Yeah, correct tactical decision, by the way. Get rid of the archer, for fuck's sake.
Well, the problem is the other Revenant is also ranged.
You've got to be kidding me.
Be more mindful of where they are, and then I can probably beat them a lot easier. Yeah, so I'm puzzling over who he is meant to be.
Into the dirt
I'm
where
sure
you
he's
belong,
meant to be somebody.
Bro. I'm certain he is, but those subtleties are rather hard to pick up on in the moment. Okay, things finally got less complicated. Jeez Louise. Dude, that was full-on assault marine. No mercy, no respite.
That's the power of love that let me overcome it. Kanatsugu is kind of funny. He appears a lot in the in a lot of different sort of stories regarding the era. And yeah, he's quite popular, and even the guy who I think it was him, the guy who did Fist of the North Star, did a story about him as well. And it's kind of funny. It's like basically back when he was a lot younger, he goes and visits like a castle town being built by Oda Nobunaga, even though the Uesugi are not on great terms with the Oda clan at the time. And and just sort of meets them and talks to them and stuff, and a few funny things happen. Now it's time for a new level. It's a submission level, but it is a new level nonetheless. And we're going to Chusan Temple, and we're going for a much more distant history lesson to the periods of conflict that really solidified the samurai caste in Japan. Because we talked a little bit about stories involving Minamoto no Yoshitsumo and Yoshitsune and the like, with the stories of Benkai and things like that. There was a sort of a thing that sort of kicked off back in the 1200s. Well, it actually sort of kicked off just before the 1200s, but really built up to then. And essentially, two major clans were really the powers in Japan. They were the Taira clan and they were the Minamoto clan, and they had a massive falling out over basically who ended up with power. And it ultimately, for a while, the Taira clan were they were the winners, and anybody who was of the Minamoto would tend to get shit on pretty hard. There were a lot of attempts at rebellion and things like that. And it took a lot of work between Minamoto no Yoshitsune and his brother Yoritomo, who Yoritomo ended up becoming the emperor, and actually ended up having a falling out with Yoshitsune. But over the course of their attempts to after they consolidated their power, they had to take care of another problem to the north, because that was where the Fujiwara clan was. And Snowclopses are back. Now we're off in our northern wet mountainous regions. We've got some of those. Also, yes, if you want to get that item in there, get some help from the yokai. They'll be happy to cut those walls down for you.
Gotta get a little help. Butchering
and
that
the Fujiwara were fairly independent, largely because they held a pretty strong position in terms of trade with the more northern regions of Japan. And with the folks there, and also because their location plus their numbers meant that few people really wanted to fight them or ever could successfully fight them. But Minamoto no Yoritomo eventually did manage to conquer them. But the Fujiwara clan had built a massive temple complex, absolutely just chocked to the brim with buildings, and the fighting against the Minamoto. Claimed some of it, but most of the rest of it was destroyed by two buildings when a fire broke out, which happens unfortunately. As you can see now, 1035 was the stat damage of a maxed out +4 one. 1070 is the maxed out damage of a +5 of this particular kind of Adachi.
Not a giant upgrade, but you do that 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden you're talking about real power.
And you compound upon that all the statistical upgrades you get with all the rest of the bonuses on a divine weapon. It all adds up. And yeah, so we're the Fujiwara clan, got wiped out, and the Date clan, hundreds of years later, would attempt to restore some of it, and so that's sort of where we are now in a sort of. This place still exists too. You can't take any photos in there, and it's listed as a UN heritage site for cultural heritage site. So it's good to see the ninja yokai back.
Yeah, no, I clenched a little bit when you ran out of stamina, regardless of the fact that he was facing away from you.
What if I told you that there's going to be a new kind of ninja yoki in this DLC?
I would completely believe you, because if there is one thing that they have been very good at in this particular game, it's seizing upon precisely what stresses the player out most.
Yep.
Yeah, I would
that'll be in the next
100% believe you.
Look forward to that.
Yeah.
Because the suffering will continue.
Until morale improves?
Until we beat the level.
Yeah.
The little gimmick in this level is, and this one's kind of funny to me, but there are little spots here in the river that have got ice on them. Some of the ice is solid. Some of the ice breaks shortly after you stand on it. There's nothing ever in like an area which would make it impossible for you to get at, but you know, it can still be a little annoying. Also, hey, a bolt. Also, a child Oni there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw something moving in the background. He's not really that interested in
attacking me.
Oh, okay.
He does something weird here. He actually pretends to cry, and I'm like, do you realize who you're talking to?
Yeah,
man?
like,
I know what you do.
I'm not certain you know who you're dealing with here, buddy. And, like, the Oni apparently do know, or the yokai apparently do know who this is at this point, because like that we kind of ignored it when it happened last round, but you know there were a few Emrita memories from some of the banished yokai that were just like, oh shit, it's that demon.
It's the Demon Slayer.
Yeah, it's like oh man, I heard about this guy. This dude sucks.
Yeah, you don't get much time to get off that ice.
I do appreciate that, like, you basically just put your toe on there, and it's just like, okay, now this entire, like, frickin' 6 foot by 6 foot area is coming down.
I was quite happy with how some of these fights are going. Dear me, that is terrible manners. I keep looking at the hat. I keep looking at the hat.
I mean, the hat is like I legitimately like that hat.
It is really nice.
It kind of reminds me of just like you need like a kanji for hate on the backgrounds or on the backside, so you can have like, you know, the ancient Japanese version of a dude's knuckles, and like tattooed on his left hand is love and the right hand is hate, or vice versa, or whatever. Just like like that completely ridiculous, over the top stuff.
One of my favorite popular culture things about Kanatsugu is basically the Koei Dynasty Warrior series has their samurai version, Samurai Warriors, and in one of them, I'm not sure which game it is, but he does feature suitably strongly in the story mode for it, and I think he announces himself quite often in a fight. Well, Capcom made a rival series, obviously, called Sengoku Basara, where everything is over the top, and Date Masamune wields 6 katanas at once. And yells English, but
it's fine.
During the animated series they made for it, Kanatsugu appears as a joke character, and typically what happens is he declares who he is and then gets team rocketed. Like, he literally gets punted. He gets punted into the fucking sky and like says something as he sails away, and it was just like, man, like that's gotta be a dig, and that's gotta be a dig at Dynasty Warriors, but that's, you know, it's a funny one. It's cute. I like it.
It's clever. I appreciate that. Cleverness should be rewarded.
It's just the fact he just vanishes over the horizon. So here's me trying to figure this out. I'm like, how do I do puzzle?
Not by jumping into the freezing river. Do not do that.
It sort of it occurs to me that the way you're supposed to get there, I sort of look around, I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand it now. Is eventually I'll like get around all of this stuff. The way you do is you can't really get there until you go over the bridge. Once you go over the bridge and go back and around, you'll get to it. But it's just like it's been a while since I've done this particular mission. I just sort of needed to remind myself.
You have a near literal bridge troll too. You know, I mean, like, it's fine.
Funny fact about the Rokurokubi is that the favorite thing for the head to eat during the night is lamp fluid.
Lamp fuel? It's like oil, right?
Lamp fuel. Yeah.
Huh. I kind of keep reeling over the last couple of episodes, in essence, like, I still have absolutely no freaking context on those yokai. I've just never heard of them before, and it's just like I'm
familiar with them.
Yeah, it's basically just like It's a bit of an Eastern werewolf tale, only, you know, like about 18 times more mindfuck, and I love it.
I always love that the person who is afflicted with the curse typically has no idea that they are cursed. And so, like, yokai.com is where I get a lot of this info regarding it. And it amuses me greatly because one particular story they use as an example is like, you know, a lord of a castle being like, the fuck is all of my lamp fluid going? And so he spies on all of his maids, and he figures out which one it is, and he fires her, but he doesn't tell her. And this just keeps happening to her. She keeps getting fired, and she's like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get work? And that's how the story ends. It's basically this woman, no one's telling her she's fucking cursed, and her head is like... And there's... Her head just, like, elongates... you know, her fucking neck snake and drinks fucking lamp fluid at night. He fires it solely so that, like, he can, like, save money on lamp fluid. He doesn't fire her because she's a demon or anything. He doesn't have her killed because she's a yokai. He's just like, lady, you're drinking all of my motherfucking lamp oil.
That
Do you know
shit's expensive. That's like twice your salary. Stop. Christ.
It is an interesting analogy for if you think about it though, for nighttime behavior and nighttime conduct. You know, a person, you know, lamp oil being depleted, you generally think was because something was going on that, you know, people didn't want others to know about, and that's why they would miraculously forget what they were doing that night and not be aware of anything that happened. It's just, you know, I just like that. It's sort of an interesting thing to think about.
It's a lovely hook into you know, the actual practical effects of what you would be looking at there, like in Western, or in a Western sense, where werewolves would frequently have quote unquote hairy palms, simply because a lot of, like, that was just a genetic defect that, or not, I shouldn't say a defect. It's just a genetic quirk that would accompany like somebody not being able to sleep at night. I forget exactly the genetic disorder that affects those. Sorry?
Hot springs.
Oh, hot springs. Yes, of course. Can't ignore that.
So I suppose that's I just want to say, I suppose that's a shortcut there, but it's a shortcut you have to move very quickly on. If you leap off the bridge up there, down onto that down below, because that first one would probably, like, crumble out from under you.
Yeah, that would give you about a quarter second to respond. But yeah, I forget exactly what the genetic disorder is that like modernly explains werewolves, but, you know, like it doesn't even make actual hairy palms. It just makes your palms rough. Like, it makes them feel rough. They tend to wrinkle as you get older. Like, it's not actually weird at all, and it accompanies habitual insomnia, which is the other thing that they would identify in people who were supposed to be werewolves, simply because, you know, they were, like, every full moon they were supposed to be going out and killing people. It's like, no, these people just couldn't sleep. Just had difficulty sleeping, and their palms wrinkled up. Like, this isn't weird.
Shit happens.
Shit happens.
I just want to say, I really, really, really like how you can ring that bell.
Yeah, you can ring that bell.
And it doesn't activate hard mode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does it do anything, like, at all?
Nope, you just ring it.
You just ring the bell.
Didn't even alert anybody.
It's just like, can you pet the dog Twitter? Only, you know, can you ring the bell? I get the feeling that would be a much less populated.
I mean, you know, like, there's a lot of games where you can ring bells, so.
I mean, but they're like part of the game to ring the bell, right? Like, it's not can you ring the bell, it's you have to ring the bell. Whereas,
you have to drop the bell down.
Yeah, in most games where you can pet the dog, you don't have to pet the dog. They just let you pet the dog, because petting dogs is awesome.
They should make you pet the dog.
They really
you should have to pet the dog.
You should definitely have to pet the dog. I am
Forever.
a big proponent of having to pet the dog.
This won't be the only time we go to this level, but you know, so that we'll be seeing that trench in a lot more dangerous state. Like okay, so bit of a dangerous lineup we got going over here. So let's do this quick.
that one could get hairy really fast.
It's interesting. It's interesting. No, I don't know if it's me or not, but those Namahage kind of seem like they're wearing a different sort of like grass cloak.
I
Like
wasn't paying close enough attention.
It just kind of seems like they didn't have any sort of. I think it might just be because they don't have a shirt on. Some of them, because they just look a little thinner on the silhouette to me. Maybe
I'll have to
maybe
pay
I'm just
closer
imagining
attention.
things.
Like that sounds entirely plausible. I just like I was in that particular engagement. I was busy trying to track how many dudes were off to your right, like taking pot shots at you. Slender vertebra. Well, that's not ghoulish at all.
A lot of stuff in the DLC that you want to craft, the gear, does require drops from certain Oni and things like that, and yeah, slender vertebrae are 100% something that you will need. if you're forging particular gear. I want to get Date Shigazane's Odachi for my character. I got fairly lucky actually in the sort of, I think it's at the end of this like the next, I don't know, I think this is the last mission I think, but I think I get his waist armor, which is what I wanted. So like I think I just need one more piece of his gear set, I believe, and his Odachi.
The Odachi really is the important part.
Yeah, it has a really cool centipede style design on it as well. Centipedes, when you think of them in Japanese culture, they tend to be sort of looked down as unclean and everything like that. But their legs have strong representations in Japan in regards to the fact that centipede marching will only ever go forwards, and so that's the warlike aspect of it. And the other one is that when you're a merchant, you want lots and lots of feet approaching you, because that means lots and lots of customers. So in those sorts of ways, you can find, and people have found, positive aspects in in the centipede.
They are unclean though, like literally, they're disgusting.
The centipedes in Japan didn't quite kill me. Sorry, guys.
Dude, you're
okay. So I'm guessing these are the 3 of the Fujiwara clan members who came about trying to build this place, which was founded by Fujiwara no Kihira, and then his son, I think his son Fujiwara no Hidehira is the one completed it. Oh no, sorry, his son was Fujiwara no Motohira, and his son was Fujiwara no Hidehira. So I'm going to venture to guess that was the three members of the Fujiwara clan responsible for the building of Chosunji. So that's the best I got. I still feel like that's way more.
That's way more than I had. So hats off to you, homie.
Yeah. And that's that. That's the 3 missions we've had kicked off. It's actually kind of funny. We didn't even mention Tenkai's here as well. He's like, oh hey, how's it going?
I was making a silent comment earlier to myself that Anjin's entire survival and quote unquote resurrection is now like the worst kept secret in Japan.
Yeah, no, just wait till he meets Ieyasu again.
Swear to God.
Because that's happening, by the way.
Ieyasu's just like, yeah, this is more or less exactly what I expected. Sup.
Hanzo's just fucking sweating in the corner. Anyway, next time, Date Masamune in the flesh in a sword fight. I'm the Last Robokai.
I have been Cool Guy.
And we'll see you all next time.